You're a two-time Pro Tour champion.
Yes.
You're a Hall of Famer. You were inducted in 2010. So that's,
correct,
at this point now, a decade ago. Can you believe that? I mean, again, to further date probably both of us here, but like, it's been a decade since you have been inducted. And like, I guess my question here is like, when you look back, how does that feel like to have that perspective already of like, whether I believe it or not, people have deemed that my impact on this scene was great enough to be, in a sense, immortalized in this Hall of Fame. Like, what does that mean to you? How do you reflect on that?
I mean, it's pretty wild. You know, just recently was the 20-year anniversary of my first Pro Tour top 8. There's like an account, Daily Magic History or whatever, and they had this post about it, and I was like, that was 20 years ago,
right?
And then, yeah, now 10 years since I was inducted into the Magic Hall of Fame, and it's because I've kind of started and stopped playing Magic at a bunch of points, especially really competitively, right? You know, I haven't played competitively now for a while, but you know, there were a bunch of times like when I was, you know, in high school, I stopped playing my senior year, then I started playing again in college, then I like stopped playing for a bit and started playing again.
Gotcha.
You know, there's been a bunch of like pauses to my competitive career, and one of those was after I graduated from college, I went to work in game design, and then they announced the Magic Hall of Fame, and I was like, you know, I look back at like my results and I'm like, you know, like I'm not realistically gonna get in.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start playing again, so I will.
Nice. Okay,
And
so it was a goal of sorts.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Because my thought process was, this has been such an important part of my life, right? This has been something that's been defining for so many of the decisions that I've made, you know, over the course of my life, and like the friends that I've made and everything. And you know, I feel like it would be kind of a waste, you know, to not try to at least, you know, take that step and get the recognition that I felt like I could earn, but I knew that I didn't deserve from my previous results.
Well, that is an insane amount of maturity in the moment, and I think, I mean, introspection to be able to identify that, right? Like, I think a lot of people would be on one side or the other. They either say like, I don't deserve it and therefore never will, and I'm not going to go after it, and maybe taking it from a defeatist attitude, or there'd be the people who are like, yeah, I've done enough, I'm good enough, and I'm not going to push that much harder, you know?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, there's different, you know, there's a lot of people who, you know, for instance, there's a voting process for the Magic Hall of Fame.
Right.
And you know, the first year that I was like eligible to be voted in, was like basically around one of the years that I started to start playing again, because I wasn't voted in, right? And I knew that I wouldn't be voted in, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't like edge of my seat. I think it'll be close. Like, I had one Pro Tour top 8 and like a bunch of success at the Grand Prix level, which is kind of the semi-pro level.
Okay.
I'd regularly competed in the Pro Tour and did pretty well, but not like amazingly well. I'd never really won at that point.
Okay.
And yeah, there are a lot of people who have that like level of success who are just like, okay, you know, I go on to something else in my life and I'm done with this.
Yeah.
But I never really left like games behind. Even after I stopped competing in Magic, I went and worked in game design on card games.
Right.
So.
Right. I mean, the triple threat is not enough of a number, big enough number to describe what you are when it comes to the gaming industry, because as you mentioned, you have done everything from being a player in multiple games at a high level. You've been a commentator on multiple games at a high level. In fact, you're just about to commentate. Yeah. You're about to assume the host role on Legends of Runeterra this weekend, which is dope as hell, but you've also worked on design teams as well, and then you are a streamer to boot and a content creator of your own, I mean, and you're expanding. And that's, I think, one of the fascinating things. We were talking about health and fitness just a moment ago before we went on air, and it's like, well, hell, you know, not only is he a strategic mastermind, but the guy can lift. If you, if you want some motivation, you got Shiro and Brian Kibler waking up early with beautiful breakfast sandwiches and some squats.
I did. I hit 3x5 at 315 on squats today. So.
Well, you're not getting out of that chair afterwards, is what I'm gleaning from that.
Thanks for tuning in. Check out more great moments on our YouTube channel at WatchVenn, and the whole episode and even more over at VENN.tv.